All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the November 22nd, 2021 regular council meeting to order and begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Kaitsi, Kwantlen, Masqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. And for any members of the public who are in attendance to watch these proceedings, welcome. Nice to have you. And just a reminder to keep your mics and cameras turned off while you are in attendance. So I'm Mayor Val Vandenbroek, and with me this afternoon, I'll introduce my fellow council members, Councillor Paul Albrecht, Councillor Terry James, Councillor Nathan Bahal, Councillor Rudy Storteboom, and Councillor Rosemary Wallace. And for staff today, we have Francis Chung, our Chief Administrative Officer. I'm getting back to Zoom again, so bear with me. Darren Light, our Director of Corporate Services, Carl Johansson, our Director of Development Services, Rick Baumhoff, our Director of Engineering, Parks and Environment, Kim Hilton, our Director of Recreation, Culture and Community Services, Kelly Kenny, our Corporate Officer, and Paula Kuzek is behind the scenes here, who is our Deputy Corporate Officer. And that is all. So we are going to go before we consider the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Okay, motion that the November 22nd, 2021 agenda be adopted as circulated. I need to move on a seconder, please. Councillor Albrecht, Councillor Storteboom, all those in favor, any opposed, that carries. And adoption of the minutes, regular meeting minutes from November 1st, 2021, that the minutes of the regular meeting held on November 1st, 2021 be adopted as circulated. Can we learn a seconder, please? Councillor Albrecht, Councillor Storteboom, any corrections, errors, or omissions to be noted? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor, any opposed, that carries. All right, we have 3 delegations tonight. First up, we have Anastasia French from Living Wage for Families of BC, official living wage employer plaque presentation. So welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. So yes, here I'm delighted to present the City of Langley with your official plaque certifying you as a living wage employer. I guess it would be nice to take a picture, but I don't know how that's done in the world of Zoom, but could that be, I don't know if we all turn our cameras on or how the best way to do that is. But
someone from staff could take the picture and we could all smile and
it's
I don't know. I'm on a desktop.
It's so awkward, isn't it?
Take a picture.
I can do a quick screen grab and we can start it with that.
Oh, there you go.
If not, maybe I can mail this and we can you can take a picture when you receive the actual thing.
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you very much to both staff and councillors at the City of Langley for all of your work with trying to ensure that both your direct staff and your contracted workers are earning a living wage. It will really make such a difference to the people who work for you on behalf of the city, and it really will make such a difference to their lives. So I'm really grateful for council for advocating so fiercely for this, and then for staff for all the work that's gone in behind the scenes for that. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to working with you as well in the future. So thank you, Anastasia. Excellent. And staff did get some pictures just so everybody knows. So that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, next delegation up, we have Chief Harley Chappell from the Semiahmoo First Nation and Christy Juteau, Roca Canada and Core Team Shared Waters Alliance. Well, welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's good to see you guys. Sorry, my daughter just got home. I'm giving her the I know we only have a small amount of time, so we're not going to take up much of your time. Really, we have a small presentation for you. I'm just going to start quite quickly and thank you for the opportunity to share it to your council and really give you a little bit of background on what we're trying to do in our neck of the woods. And you may ask, and I'll let Christy answer that when she does her presentation. Our shared waters was developed in 1994. We had 2 of our community members that were actually charged with shellfishing in a closed area. And that sparked a legal suit that ended up really building a foundation for shared waters and the opportunity to start working with our neighboring NGOs that's not the right word. Sorry, I'm stuck here in Chilliwack. But really, I just wanted to take the time so a little bit of background here. The shell fishing in the Semiahmoo Bay has been closed since 1976, officially closed. So a lot of people kind of go, wow. And I've had several conversations with Department of Fisheries and Oceans around reopening or reclassifying the bay. Unfortunately, we went through quite a large process to reclassify the bay and try to open it back up a few years ago. That was unfortunately denied. So we've taken a little bit of a different direction. We're starting to this is our last delegation. We've spoken to Delta, to Surrey, to White Rock, and Township Langley as well. And you are the last on our list, just to share some information. We do have a little ask we'd like to share at the end, but we'll save that to the end. And everybody's getting a first peek at my Movember. Oh, I'm not. I can't wait till this month is over. I can tell you that much. But I'm gonna turn it. I just wanted to do a quick opening and really thank you for the opportunity to come and share. I'm gonna turn it over to Christy because I know we're limited for time, and I'll let her continue on with our presentation.
Thanks, Chief Harley. And yeah, as he said, Semiahmoo Nation, as you likely know, their reserve lands are based right on the mouth of the Little Campbell and right on Semiahmoo Bay, which is part of the larger Boundary Bay. And as you know, the city of Langley is part of that watershed, and that the water that flows off of the city all flows into, the Nickelmeckle and the Little Campbell River that flow into the bay. So this is how we're all connected through water, right? And the Shared Waters Alliance, like Chief Harley mentioned, was started out of this court case, really, where Semiahmoo Nation members were charged shellfish harvesting in a closed area. And that started this collaborative work between the federal government, Semiahmoo Nation, and the many other partners that have jurisdiction over water in the area surrounding Boundary Bay, to try and improve the water quality so that they could actually harvest shellfish, which is really their traditional food. Both clams and oysters and mussels out of the bay, as well as the salmon, were really formed their main food source since time immemorial, really. And so it's trying to right that wrong, basically, as we could, because all of us are responsible for the contamination that is ongoing into the bay, and so we can all be part of the solution, really, to try and address that. So Shared Waters Alliance is a group of all these different organizations that are coming to the table a couple times a year to basically share the information they're learning, and whatever part of the puzzle they are playing to report back on those initiatives, and to work together to improve the water quality, so that Semiahmoo and perhaps everyone might be able to harvest shellfish again in Boundary Bay. So basically what we're doing right now is doing some water quality monitoring work in the Little Campbell River, because that was identified as the greatest contributor of contamination. So we're taking a closer look at that river and bringing that data back to the roundtable group. And we're also then, once we know where the main contamination is coming from, working with partners to try and improve conditions. So this is just, clarifying our current activities. We're meeting as a roundtable. We're engaging with water quality technical working group folks to focus on the technical work. And this newest initiative, why we're engaging all these different municipalities, is because we're acknowledging that all the municipalities have a really significant role to play. You guys are on the landscape and making the decisions that affect water quality. And so you have an opportunity to really engage further and we have these shared goals of improving water quality and advancing reconciliation. So there's an opportunity there to connect with municipal leaders. I just wanted to acknowledge the things that Langley's already doing that relate to this. So your natural asset management, you're working with the nickel and stormwater improvements, and you're working with green infrastructure, encouraging green infrastructure and rewilding in the city of Langley is already contributing to improving water quality. So I wanted to affirm that. And so here, I'll leave it to Chief Harley to just,
Sure.
clarify your requests.
One quick thing I just wanted to add to Christie's presentation. You know, when Semiahmo, when we settled long ago in Semiahmo, in the territory we're in now, you know, one of the main food sources, and even the literal translation of our name talks about lowering to feed. So really, you know, when we talk of Semiahmo, Semiahmo is us, we're it, both the land and the people. So, and you know, one thing I just got the other day was a notice from our relatives in Lummi, and this is a transboundary initiative as well. We do work with the city of Blaine and representatives from south of the border, but we had relatives from the city of or from the nation, Lummi Nation, in just out of Bellingham. They were shellfishing on the south side of the border where it's closed on the north side of the border, which in my eyes doesn't really make a lot of sense. Really what our ask here today and what the initiative that we're undertaking is really starting to work towards a south of Fraser watershed gathering. And because it's going to take us all. If one of the municipalities or one of the nations is not involved and not included in this, it may fall a little bit by the wayside. So really our ask here today is one, providing a little bit of information, and two, requesting to the municipality that the city delegate or volunteer a council member that may attend our initial gathering, as well as having a staff be involved or leadership be involved in our roundtable gatherings, just so that we can expand our scope of work a little bit further up into Langley, and we're looking to do that. We have been postponing this. Obviously, we ran into these weird things called a global pandemic that put a little bit of a hindrance on our progress, but we're still moving forward regardless. So we're hoping that once we're able to and coordinate and facilitate this gathering, we will send those invitations. But really, our ask is your inclusion and your involvement in that, and being part of the process. And you know, one thing I really just want to share in closing is, you know, the words of my cousin, Councillor Joanne Charles, and she would say, you know, if human beings could be on the rare species list for endangered populations, Semiahmo would be on it. For our access to traditional food sources is non-existent anymore. And we're striving. We don't fish in our territory directly in front of our community. We fish with our relatives in Catesy, and shellfishing has been closed. Obviously, you know, people don't like us hunting in their yards very much, so we keep that to a bare minimum as well. So really, you know, our ask is to include Langley, and you know, I'll leave that to yourselves to who may be that person, but as well as possibly some staff involvement for our roundtable workshops. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Chief Harley and Christy. I honestly can't look at you with that stash. It is crazy, dude. But thank you for doing it and growing it and raising money. I just saw you a couple weeks ago, and I know how much it's grown. So
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, we have questions and comments. I'm going to start with Councillor Storteboom, and then Councillor Albrecht, and then Councillor Wallace, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's nice to meet you, Chief Harley and Christy. Appreciate your presentation. I'll support your initiative, but that's allowed. I do have a couple of questions and or comments. I remember as a kid, we used to go camping down on the White Rock Beach. So I've been around for a while. I remember there were a lot of shellfish and crabs that I just don't see there anymore. It seems like there's been a lot of impact from the community of White Rock, and I'm questioning whether or not they're still discharging their gray water into the bay. Do you know?
From everything we've understood, the city of White Rock has done a lot of smoke testing because they had a dual system, and Christy can jump in anytime here. From what I understood, they had a dual system for their wastewater and their septic. And when the water would get too high, it would flush out. They
have done some
fixed,
upgrades.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they have done some upgrades, and they now have a pump station that sends, and a new main that sent a force main that sends all of their sewage up to the Metrovan sewage treatment plant. But they do have overflow events that still occur, and so they are monitoring that, and there are still improvements that need to be implemented.
Okay, so
and your question around shellfish?
Yeah, the clams and the crabs and all that was going on when I was a kid. I saw a lot of activity there that I just don't see anymore.
We went out a few years back just with some of our youth and some of our elders just to turn the clam beds. We were getting, I'm not kidding, football-sized gooey ducks out of the ground, and it was phenomenal. It really, but with the close eyes of Department of Fisheries, and they said, if you take them off the beach, we're going to be there. And I said, you don't know if you want to say that, because we might just take them off the beach to reignite this whole thing again. But yeah, they are still there. There's still lots of crabs, still lots of shellfish, but just unharvested at this time.
You can eat those gooey ducks, can you?
Not all. The shellfish from it's. I've learned more about shellfish in the past years, obviously since I've been chief. But really, what I learned was any of the fecal coliforms that come into the water, bivalves absorb that directly into their matter. So it's not like a fish or something. They run it through their gills. They get it into their matter of their being, and so putting our community and members at risk of any potential that might be in those storm sewer wastewater runoffs. And Blaine was to blame too. They were years back they were pumping raw sewage into the Blaine, and they've since developed a wastewater treatment plant as well.
Very good. So that would explain the red tide warnings I've seen down in Birch Bay.
Yes.
Okay, well, I support the initiative, and we'll see if I can participate. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Albrecht, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief Chappell and Christy, for your presentation. I really appreciate it. It's quite timely and important, considering the flooding that we've been experiencing and the importance of our waterways. And here at the city, we've, as Christy noted, we've taken great steps to try to improve the water quality from our community into the Nikomekel. So I'm very supportive of this. I think this is something that we'll probably have to take back as a council and discuss who that representation will be. And but I really want to express my appreciation for you reaching out to make this alliance, because I think it's really important that this is a regional thing. The question I had was, do you have a regular meeting location lined up, or is it something where you're going to be moving it around as things move forward?
Well, we have discussed both. Up until now, we've been using City of Surrey. City of Surrey has been quite deeply involved, and they have the space for us to hold our workshop. We have discussed possibly, as we move forward, moving it around and just allowing different governments to be involved in the good work that's happening.
Yeah, that's
the last
great.
couple meetings have been on Zoom, of course.
Yeah,
of course. So yeah, no, I'm totally supportive of it, and I think it'd be appropriate for a member of council to be there as well as a staff member. We're a fairly small organization, and staff have work up to their eyeballs, as you can well imagine. So we don't want to be overstepping or over committing staff resources. So thank you very much for being here tonight.
And I'll just share that we're not asking to tax. We don't want to tax council. We don't want to tax staff, but having that inclusion and involvement and just really realizing that, you know, these waterways touch all of our territories. So how do we include the ones that are part of that?
Yeah, exactly. And that connection, that communication, that building of relationships is so very vital in order to improve our natural resources. So again, thank you.
And Councillor Wallace, go ahead.
Thank you, through the mayor. I've had the honor of being at one of your meetings, and it was amazing. Thank you for being here today and sharing. And I totally support your initiative and just the educational components of it for everybody, knowing that our Nickamecca River and how it connects to other waterways is so vital. So yeah, thank you very much. And I look forward to having somebody on council be represented. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you too for coming. I know, I'll tell you right now, I can probably say if everybody on this council could go, they would, to support it, which is absolutely fantastic. So I don't know if somebody maybe wants to put forward a motion to refer this to staff. I'm going to second it. All those in favor, and that carries. So there you go. Easy peasy.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. And I know being on Fraser Basin Council for the last couple of years, we did a lot of work on this. So it's very, very important. And thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you very much.
And
So
nice to see you again.
I'm imagining following up, we'll, you know, Christmas holiday season coming. I think we'll be putting it over until the new year. And once we find a safe, comfortable place we can all meet, then, you know, ideally these conversations would be best in person, but, you know, numbers is the issue right now, is the concern. So we will follow up in the new year.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have
I
a
don't see you
great
guys.
evening.
Happy holidays.
And same to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, and our last delegation of tonight is Chad Bahasi from the Langley Baseball Association. And is Chad, there you go. Hi, Chad. How are you?
I'm good, Mayor. Thanks very much for allowing me to be a part of this this meeting.
Yes, absolutely. I will give you the floor.
Okay. Yeah, I've met numerous people on council here. I want to just introduce myself. My name is Chad Posse. I'm president of Langley Little League. I've been president for the past year, which has been tough for everyone. And we are looking at possible sponsorships to be put up around the outside fences of the city park, Gillade, Cook, and possibly Barber, to help with more equipment for kids and to update their fields, to help support the city and make it a little bit more feasible to get some work done so that we can have bigger tournaments and Canadian championships. And like I say, I want this, like Langley City's motto, let's make this the place to be. Well, let's do that, right? So we're looking forward to having these sponsorships to help with the city's ultimate plan of making the park better, making the fields better, making them safer for the kids. And I want to have the best fields in the Fraser Valley. So I want to have all these tournaments here. I want people to be proud of coming to the park and be able, wow, like those fields are amazing. And we want to play there. And when within the district, when I go to these district meetings, they look at that and they look at our fields, and they look at our facilities and be like, okay, well, where are we going to have these tournaments? So you have to apply for them. So when you apply for them and you have these fields that are so amazing, it makes it that much easier to have it here. I look at it as the sponsorships are going to support the businesses all throughout the Langley City. It's going to give people, because we're a volunteer-based nonprofit organization, we're all volunteers. So some people volunteer with time, like I'm doing, and other people have an opportunity with the businesses in Langley. They can support it by volunteering, maybe some sponsorship money that they can put up on the post-it boards and show their support for Langley, and that's kind of what I was doing with it. I was unsure if I was going to be able to make the meeting. I work shift work, and the council meetings used to be at 7 o'clock, which was going to be my night shift. So it just worked out great that I was able to submit a letter and our pamphlet for council to look at. I hope everyone was able to sort of have a look and see what they think. And then I just want to know where we go from here. Like, you know, how else would we proceed? And if anybody has some questions, I'm here to answer.
Excellent. Thank you, Chad. Thank you for attending tonight. I know you, the scheduling thing, but I'm glad it worked out and you are here. And I just want to thank you and the rest of the volunteers. You guys do an absolutely fantastic job with LBA. So I will pass you over. There are some council members with questions. I will start with and comments. So Councillor James, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and it's nice to see you, Chad. Yeah, you're just such a positive influence on this whole organization. Not to take away from your predecessors, because I'm sure they worked very hard as well, but you're just such a fresh breath of air. And I know you're very passionate about this. You did a lot of work with your sponsorship package. I know firsthand what goes into those things, and I was very impressed when I read it. So I think you mentioned that you're willing to work with staff to make sure that signage bylaws and things are adhered to. So the only thing I will say, because I don't actually know what the next step is, and I'm going to probably pass this on to someone who can, but I just think it's amazing that you're doing the work that you're doing. And I think that this is your willingness to put all this work in and effort. I don't see anything wrong with appropriate signage in City Park at the baseball diamonds, simply because anywhere else I go, that is exactly how they are able to afford the things that they're able to afford. So the fact that you've taken the next step in securing funding potentially from willing sponsors, I think is absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to what everyone else has to say, but I just wanted to say it was a pleasure meeting you earlier this year, and I can't say enough about the things that you're doing for our Langley baseball organization. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thanks, Terry. I appreciate all the support, and I just wanted everybody to know how committed I am to this. I've signed up for another 3 years that I said I would be president of the organization. So I just, you know, I have a really good rapport with the city and everybody that I've worked with, and I enjoy doing it. So that's I just want to keep the ball rolling, and thank you very much. So,
well, we're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Hey, Nathan, Councillor Pahal, you're up next, please.
Thank you, Mayor Vandenbroek. Yeah, thanks for the presentation, Chad, and also had a chance to review the sponsorship package as well. This is just for City Park, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, so I think, you know, you mentioned that some of the money could be used for city renovations. I mean, for me, I think a lot of it would be directed to your organization, which is fine by me as well. Even if a nickel didn't reach the city, I wouldn't be too upset, to be honest. But I was just wondering, how do you foresee that as far as upkeep of the fields?
Well, I was looking at it as with our sponsorships, as possibly we could have almost an annual donation from our sponsorships to go towards our fields. So, you know, we're start out, I know the costs are going to be quite excessive or whatever that come into the city, but I think I look at it as, you know, we need these fields to stay with some upkeep. So I looked at it as possibly an annual the bursary or the money from some of our sponsors go directly to our fields to help to maintain that and to maintain like even the media that's on the fields, because we were looking at possibly changing the media to something like the red clay where it drains better, there's less dust, and they look a lot better and the kids like it too. So those are some of the things that we're looking at, and to keep within the plan of the master plan of the city. If it goes towards later on more backstops and stuff like that the city already has implemented, well, maybe we can help out with that also. So that's something that we were kind of looking at putting forward.
Oh, that's really great to hear. And again, I can't speak on behalf of all of council, and I'm sure staff's probably cringing a little bit, but I mean, I would be, again, just as happy if that money went directly to your organization to make sure that all the kids have an opportunity to participate, even those who might not be able to afford to, and anything that's sort of extra. I know the city is really committed to that park and to investing in baseball in that park. And it's like, $1 million type projects. So I wouldn't expect your organization to be financing that for sure. So for me, I think it's really good that, we support that. I think we've in the past, I see that some of the old scoreboards say McDonald's on them and stuff. And I've seen old ads from back in the day. And yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I would support it. And like I said, I would rather see that money stay within your organization than, you having to pay a tax to the city to maintain the fields.
Thanks, Councillor Bahal. Councillor Albrecht, you're next, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chad, for your presentation and the sponsorship information. I really appreciated it. And I have to say that Langley Baseball runs an awesome program, and it's a program that I think everyone here in the Township Council is very proud of, and we've supported over the years through grants and especially with the Little League World Series coming to the community. It was a fantastic event that we, again, really proud of. As a father of many children who's played sports in Langley over the years, I understand the pressures of trying to have the finances and the funding to run the programs that are required for children to have fun and be active and healthy and learn that the socialization and the importance of teamwork. It's something that will serve all these children for many, many years to come. So I understand that and I support it. And Langley Baseball has been a great partner with the city for as long as I've been around and long as I remember. So I would say that this would be just referred to staff for them to work with you as we move forward. But we'll maybe have that conversation with staff to make sure that we're not setting things up in a incorrect manner. But I see it as a positive and a win for everybody all the way around. So again, thank you very much for your time, Chad.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, because we were looking through the bylaws and trying to make sure that we're following everything to what we're supposed to with RE15 and the size of sponsorship, even to the color of the backing on the back of it with the white color. We're making sure that we're doing everything the way you would like it. So I see it nothing but a positive for us and the city, and I'm hopeful. It's just kind of a time thing, it's having the paperwork and stuff ready. And I know because of the holiday season, it would be nice to be able to go out and talk to these sponsors and get some of these going so that we know where we are with our budget come February, right? So that's kind of, I know there's a process and we'll just have to wait and see and where we go from here. But I appreciate all the support.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, what Councillor Albrecht was saying too, I know last council, we were very adamant and really started to clean up that park because it was barely playable, 6 years ago. So previous council worked really hard to come up with those plans and stuff. So it's been great to see the progression going on all these years and more kids playing and the Little League tournaments and stuff going on there. It's just been absolutely, I live right across the street, so I hear it all the time. I love it. I know summer times there, I can smell the French fries and the hot dogs and I go running over. So Councillor Stortevin, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chad, for your presentation. I got to tell you, as the eldest child in an immigrant family, it was baseball that really opened me up to the community. So when you're talking baseball, volunteers, and the entrepreneurial spirit associated with a business plan for a scoreboard, you're talking to me. That's my wheelhouse. I really support the initiative. We'll still have to, figure out the business plan and like that. And so, yes, I appreciate Councillor Albrecht's recommendation that we can ask staff to have a look at this for us and pull something together. I didn't see a brochure. I'm sorry, I must have missed that, but I'll be interested in seeing what that scoreboard will look like moving forward. And I got to say that you guys have really been challenged with this COVID And I know it's dampened the spirits of some that are associated with your baseball association, but it's refreshing and encouraging to see you on the move and moving forward with this initiative and committing to another term, or 3 years, I should say. So yeah, I'm proud of you for doing that. I think the baseball has really made a big difference to a lot of lives in our community. And I can speak from my personal experience. That's what it was for me. And I can tell you too that your ask is really timely, because we're looking at developing a master plan for the parks, and we want baseball to be included in that. So thank you for your presentation. I look forward to staff developing something with you, and the business plan as to, you know, how the money flows and how that gets paid out, and what kind of expenses we're looking at, and what kind of revenue we might expect. So thank you again for your presentation, and thank you for letting me speak, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Wallace, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, everybody has spoken, so I feel like I have to, but I want to. I'm just, thank you so much for coming to council, and I'm not going to reiterate what everybody else has said, but I just want to commend your organization and how you guys navigated through COVID and were able to still host events and games. And I got to go watch my grandson play, and it was pretty exciting. So yeah, I look forward to many more years of watching baseball and your organization grow. And thank you so much, Chad, for your passion and just dedicating 3 more years. That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Albrecht, I'm hoping you have a motion prepared. Is that what you have your hand up for?
Well, I certainly can, but there was a question I was going to ask Chad, and I forgot when I was talking, and now I just remembered it. And I was just going to ask him the Challenger program. What kind of numbers have you got going on with that now? Because I know it was growing last time I talked to you.
Yeah, the numbers were growing last year. There was a little bit that they didn't run the Challenger program that was on. The numbers, we're looking probably around 40 kids, so that are, you know, that were there. So it just depends on how everything works with the vaccinations and the rules, and if everybody's comfortable with playing. So but it's growing always. The same with COVID happening, we used Rotary Park. Well, that area in there, we got a lot of positive feedback from people too that lived there, and they would come out and watch the games that were going on, and it was great to hear that they're enjoying it. They're coming out and supporting the kids and seeing the kids run around and play some baseball. So I'm looking forward to that again, and the fields, you know, we've always had a really good rapport with the parks department in Langley City. Working with Rick and working with John, it has been great. So I know Rick was going to speak on my behalf also towards for the sponsorships and get the ball rolling, and I really appreciate all his help.
Great. So I just like the Challenger program, to me, is just incredible. So I want to say hats off to you. And I'll put a motion out there that the council direct staff to arrange a sponsorship program that works within our regulations.
Okay, can I get a seconder on that? Councillor Wallace. Okay, all those in favor? And that carries. Nobody opposed. So thank you very much, Chad. Appreciate all your hard work, and we look forward to further discussions. So thank you very much.
You bet. All right.
Take care.
All right. Stay safe and have a good night.
Cheers. You too. Thanks. Okay, that was absolutely fantastic. Moving on, upcoming meetings. Next regular council meeting is December 6th, 2021 at 3 p.m. and we're back to virtual. And the following regular council meeting after that will be December 13th, 2021, the last one of the year, 3 p.m. virtual as well. So up first, we have Ms. Kim Hilton, Director of Recreation, Culture, and Community Services with a recreation update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. This is my update for recreation for November. Do people see the presentation?
Yes.
Fantastic. We're getting so good at this, aren't we? So for November, I'm happy to say that our winter registration begins on November the 25th, so Thursday of this week. All your opportunities can be found online at our website, langleycity.ca, or you can come into our facilities and pick up the individual flyers/brochures for the different age groups of the different programs that we're offering. So registration begins November 25th. And just a reminder that the games room is open. We're open Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays, 8:30 to 6 p.m., and Sundays, 8:30 to 8 p.m. Just a reminder that we do have pool, we have table tennis, we have air hockey, we have foosball, we have 3 different gaming systems, and we also have shuffleboard, which is a sport or a game that is, I think, slowly declining, but it's good that we still have it so people can remember what it is. And we also have our board games. So there's lots of opportunities for people to come and enjoy the games room. And I should point out that it is only $10 for the year for the games and track pass. And it also gets you access to the walking fitness track once it's reopened. Just a little kudos out to our Point of Pride program. So that's an Adopt a Park, Street or Trail. This program has been expanding. One of our staff members, Ms. Dorval, has been taking this on and growing the numbers within our program. And she just wanted to highlight one of our volunteers, Brad, and the work that he's been doing. Some of the work he does helps to make it easier for our park staff. So, you know, Wednesday after the big floods, he was out there moving some of the branches off the walkway so people could continue to walk. But in the meantime, our city workers were able to pick them up and make it a little bit cleaner. And that's the whole point of his quote. If we take care of the little issues, it'll free up City of Langley staff to deal with the larger issues. And when some people see him volunteering, they want to pitch in. So he's a great ambassador for our program. And he does commend the city for the great job improving Portage Park. It's been a lot of hard work and it really does show. The sight lines have been open. So great work, Brad. Thank you for volunteering with our Point of Pride program. Now, this looks like fun. I think this could be a challenge that we have with the youth versus the council because, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. So it's bubble soccer. It's coming to Langley Douglas Recreation Center on Tuesday, December 21st. Our youth can register for 4 different times, and we will know if you're not a youth. So if you're trying to sneak in there, we'll figure it out. It's open to youth for ages 6 to 12, and it's at Douglas Recreation Center. And to register, you can phone 604-514-2940 or get on our website at langleycity.ca. We are also working with the Langley Youth Hub to host a youth holiday market, and that's also running at a Douglas Recreation Center on Wednesday, December 22nd from 2 to 6 p.m. The youth can register for a 30-minute time slot. Encompass Support Services and the Youth Hub are working at getting product donated so that the youth can hold this youth holiday market. So it will be at Douglas Recreation Center, and to register is langleycity.ca, or you can phone 604-514-2940. And there'll be some other activities and food outside in the park at the same time. And new is our mentorship program. So Taryn, our youth programmer, has been busy vetting our mentors, and now we're looking for youth who are looking to have some mentorship. So if you are a youth or you know a youth looking for some extra guidance in life, just to hang out with someone, talk to them, Langley City can find you a mentor. So if you're interested, please reach out to Taryn. His number is 604-514-2999 or T Kingsbury at langleycity.ca. So to be eligible, you need to be 15 to 18 and reside in Langley City. And Taryn's been working with the Big Brothers Big Sisters to help get this program up and running. And just a reminder that we do have our gymnasium is closed, as well as our fitness track. The floors have been sanded. There's no lines on it currently. There is a dumpster outside with full of sawdust. So it's quite amazing how much wood they actually take off. And they'll be start to reline and refinish later this week. We hope to reopen both the gymnasium and the walking track January the 4th. And that's my presentation for today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, Ms. Hilton, all the wonderful stuff you and your staff do. Every time you give presentations, it's just amazing. And I'm in for bubble soccer. If anybody else is, I'll challenge the youth if anybody wants to join a team. Councillor Pahal, you were up first, please.
Thank you, Mayor Vandenbroek. And yeah, I was just really excited to hear that our Point and Pride program is still going strong. And I'm sure the volunteers were out there because almost a day after the trails were all cleared up. So that's really encouraging. And like the mayor said, that's a pretty funky sport for the bubble soccer. I don't know if I'll participate myself, but certainly I'll be on the lookout to see people playing it. It looks quite ridiculous, which is great. And it's also awesome to see the partnership we have with the Encompass Support Services Youth Hub and that market. So this is all really exciting stuff for the winter. And I should say it's really cool to see that we're now programming outdoor winter activities. So thanks, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you.
Outdoor activities that you want to join with me and join my bubble soccer team?
There you go.
Councillor Stortaboom, you were next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Hilton, for your presentation. Always very exciting, inspiring, worthwhile. My congratulations to you and your team for making recreation just so significant in our community. You've really impressed me every time. I'm not sure about the bubble soccer. I did want to, comment on that, but I think I'd rather just watch rather than, do a face plant in front of everybody in the middle of a plastic ball. But I'm really excited about the news that the indoor track is opening up in the new year. And I hope that we can hold to that schedule. It's something I've been looking forward to, and I know a lot of other people in the community have as well. Thank you very much to you and your team for working through this incredible time with such positive, enthusiastic energy. Thank you for all you do. And thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to speak.
Councillor Wallace.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just congratulations on another awesome report, Ms. Hilton. I just have a question in regards to the game room. I think it's so amazing that it is a $10 a year program that people just can pay for a membership and be able to use that and the walking track. I would be curious to maybe eventually get a number of how many people actually are using the games room. I know there's COVID, but it'd be interesting just to see. I know that the youth are using it because Taryn has, has put it up on social media, but it'd just be nice to see the numbers there. And if we need to promote it even more, because it's just so amazing to be able to go to a place and have that many things to be able to do. And thank you so much for sharing the point of pride. Volunteers are so valuable in our community, and I don't know what we would do without them. So yeah, I love seeing that in this report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor James.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Ms. Hilton, Mrs. Hilton, could you please send me or all of us the information that you just shared in your PowerPoint, because it's all very relevant, and I'm especially interested in the youth market. I think that's outstanding. So I would love to myself personally share that within the community and all the other things that you talked about tonight. So not to reiterate what everyone else said, outstanding job by you and your team. And every time you report out, there's something new. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I'll send out the information right away.
Thank you. Well, apparently we don't have a bubble team, but I'll put one together, Ms. Hilton, and maybe staff or somebody or youth. Are you in, Councillor Albrecht? Okay, who's in? Because I'm going to send out an email. I'm in on this. That looks like
I'd be in on the bubble, and staff always do an outstanding job. So yeah.
Okay, we'll figure something out. I'll send an email out. I'd love to do this. It'd be fun.
Looks like fun.
It does. You can come and cheer us on, Councillor Stortaboom, if you want to get wrapped up. I think it'd be fun. Okay, well, thank you for that, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you.
Up next, Councillor Albrecht, you have a report from Discover Langley City.
Yeah, I'll thank you. And I'm just going to keep it really short. I'm just going to touch on a couple of the real important things, but the Mrdt reporting has been completed. It's an annual performance and a review of the financial report, kind of a yearly audit by Destination BC, and they've all been approved. And it aligns with the strategic plan and it provides a kind of a check and balance of the use of those tax dollars that are collected for that through the hoteliers in our community. So, but an important fact that has come up is that from January 2020 to December of 2020, there was just over $41 million for the MRDT collections in BC. So that was a decrease of approximately 45% over 2019. So that's the kind of impact that COVID has had on all our communities across BC, and it's pretty significant. And the communities are doing everything they can to keep things going and get that tourism business up, even during these challenging times. So they've done a remarkable job, and I know the Discover Langley City has done a fantastic job of obtaining grants and supporting funds to carry on and continue to grow our tourism industry here in the city. So they've renewed their contract. We've got a lot of we've really pivoted a lot of our attention to more of the virtual and media components of tourism, as well as trying to extend that reach out there. So there's been all kinds of marketing strategies, a partnership with West Coast Food Tours. The Langley City's International Taste Bud Tour has also grown a lot. And just really making a focus on our restaurant business and various events that are going on in our community, with various events, shopping, outdoor activities, and attractions, as well as some nightlife, as limited as that is here, and some that international taste bud tour. So the complete report is in your agenda packages. I'm sure that you've all either read it or plan on reading it, and I will just say that that's my report for that today. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that. A lot of great stuff going on. Councillor Pahal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through the mayor to Councillor Albrecht. I appreciate your Discover Langley City reports. It's always good to know what's going on. Could totally see that in 2020, the hospitality sector was absolutely decimated in BC and Langley. Have you seen any indicators of what the recovery is looking like for this year compared to, say, 2019, or is that something that might be forthcoming in 2022?
Well, definitely it'll be forthcoming, or a little clearer picture, but the trends right now are showing a lot more visitations from out of province, as well as even out of the country. We're starting to see that increase from visitors from the US, Alberta. So things are starting on an uptake, but we'll probably have a little better idea once we go through a year cycle here. So the spring will probably present a little better picture. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Albrecht.
Great, thank you. Councillor Wallace, did you have a comment?
I did have a comment, and I don't know if it's something that it probably could happen in the future. Congratulations for all the wonderful work that Discover Langley is doing. But I can't help but notice the nightlife down here on the one way. And sometimes I'm thinking the wonderful event of Shop Your Heart Out. It's just an amazing event. It'd be really cool to have maybe, once or twice a month, to have maybe the opportunity for stores to stay open later. because I know there's a lot of restaurants are open, but a lot of the retail closes down, and it kind of doesn't, we lose the buzz of the one way. And looking, and I know there's various reasons and staffing and everything, so it's nothing in regards that I'm pointing to Discover Langley, but it would be really nice to see maybe some nights be open. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up, because I think that's something that's always on the radar and top of mind with the Discover Langley City crowd, as well as the retailers, because it's their businesses that really would drive that. So the kinds of events and programming and attractions that we're starting to get, I think there's some businesses that are starting to look at maybe extending their hours, at least getting into that conversation. I can see that happening in the not too distant future.
Great points, Councillor Wallace. Yeah, it would be nice to see a little bit more happening downtown at night. Hopefully that'll happen too with all the Christmas lights going up, right? So that'll add to the charisma down there. So Councillor Stortebin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in response to Councillor Wallace's comments about the store staying open a little bit longer, I do liaise with the Downtown Langley Merchants Association, and I can tell you part of the beauty of the organization is that these are independent shopkeepers and store owners who keep their own business hours. When the activity comes, they can extend themselves if they choose to. If they are unavailable because, you know, they've got other commitments and or they just don't have the staffing or the budget, then they can pull back. The malls operate a little bit differently. They are required to be open for certain hours, but these are all independent businesses. And the only way I think we can encourage them to stay open a little longer is to create more activity for the general population to come on down, for more shoppers to be in their proximity. So that would be our goal moving forward. And I appreciate your comments. I'd like to see all kinds of activity, like a night market and all kinds of stuff going on down there. But that would be up to these shopkeepers, if I may say so. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yeah, and thank you, Councillor Storteboom. You're so right. It is up to the businesses to do that, and I think sometimes the lines blur a little bit between our business association and the Discover Langley City. So with the programming, hours of work, and some of the events. So yeah, it's one of those things where there's a partnership and things are growing, but you have different, let's say, different mechanisms that are feeding each thing. So thank you.
Councillor Wallace, go ahead.
Thank you. And it was no criticism on anybody's parts. It was just be nice to see the busyness of the downtown area, because there are wonderful businesses down there. And I think it's up to community and us to support those businesses. And to your point, Councillor Storteboom, yeah, it is in regards to staffing and family businesses, but I know there are businesses, if we created opportunities and events to happen and they could stay open longer, that would be wonderful too. So yeah, thank you for your comments.
Well, hopefully as time goes on and COVID goes, more people get vaccinated and we'll get more and more people out. So it's been a challenging 2 years, right, folks? So, okay, well, thank you for that update, Councillor Albrecht. All right, on to business now with bylaws. All right, bylaw 3200, official community plan bylaw. Final reading of a bylaw to adopt an official community plan. That the bylaw cited as official community plan bylaw 2021, number 3200, be read a final time. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Pahal, Councillor Storteboom, and any discussion on that? Councillor Pahal.
Yeah, I just wanted to commend staff and our consultants for, I guess, over 2 years of work to get this to the finish line. And I know it just got approved through the Metro Vancouver board. And it just feels like if I didn't say anything for something that we've all spent so much time on, I just wanted to kind of pause and take a breath and realize this is a huge accomplishment for a community. I don't think we've done an update like this for, well, in the 21st century anyways. So and this is going to guide us for the next 20 plus years. So I think this is a huge kudos to the council for the vision, for our staff for getting us all together with the consultants to put this together, and all the countless community members, businesses, our other partners that worked with us to put this together. It truly was a community effort, and I'm so proud of this document, and I look forward to giving it final reading and get to business. Thank you so much, Mayor Vandenbroek.
Excellent comments, Councillor Pahal, and I think we all feel that way. Everybody has done tremendous work on this for a long time, and I can honestly say this is the best bylaw I've read so far as mayor. So I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited about it. It's been a lot of hard work. So let me just check to see who's first. Councillor Storterboom, then James, then Albrecht.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I guess I'm kind of echoing Councillor Pahal's comments, because this is no small thing. The accomplishment of the official community plan is something that a lot of other communities have struggled to complete. And I can honestly say that there's been some mutual consideration and cooperation moving forward that impresses me that we can actually accomplish the goals that are set out in this document. I am especially impressed by the work of our development services, building, planning, and I just want to compliment those staff in particular, Mr. Chung, of course, Mr. Johansson, Mr. Gill, Mr. Beto, and Mr. Metalikoff. I can honestly say that this is a significant accomplishment that we can build on literally into the future. And I just want to be sure that everybody gets credit for the effort that they've put in. And my special appreciation to the staff, because they have lived, breathed this for, well, a couple of years. And this is a significant accomplishment for the city of Langley moving forward. And I just want to say thank you to council and staff for bringing this forward. Good job, really good job. Thank you.
Councillor James, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yeah, there's a reason why this document is only done as often as it is, because it is arduous. And you not only take into consideration what's happening now, but what's going to happen in the future. I have, as well as my council colleagues and Madam Mayor, listened and sat through tons of meetings as things were revised and interpreted, and the community was taken into consideration, and the amount of outside entities that have to be taken into consideration to make this come to fruition it's staggering to me, mind blows me. So I want to say thank you as well. And honestly crossed my mind today, just as an aside, if we were meeting in person, I was planning on bringing a blow up confetti thing to just like show everyone on behalf of council just how sincerely appreciative and respectful and impressed by every single one of you staff people that had something to do with it, and the community and mayor and council, right down from the bottom to the top and back down again, and everyone in between. It was just an incredible journey. I have never experienced anything like this before, and I couldn't be more proud of the people who brought this to fruition, the consultants and staff. I don't want to start repeating myself. Just an incredible accomplishment. And I'm super proud tonight to be sitting here, being able to approve this. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor James. Councillor Albrecht, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna pile on the praise train here and acknowledge staff have done an incredible job. I'm just totally blown away by the time, effort, and commitment to try to get something as comprehensive as a document like this that will shape and guide an exciting vision for our community for the future. And I'm really quite impressed with how involved our community was, and our taxpayers and residents and businesses. We had a number of different opportunities for people to engage, and they took up on that and took advantage of that opportunity to have their say in what our community is going to look like. I like to think it's a perfect document. I know it's not. There'll be others out there that may not agree with every piece of it, but I think overall it's an outstanding document to shape what our future is going to look like. And again, I just want to thank everyone for all their time, effort, energy, and passion for bringing such a great project, so ambitious and so important for our community forward. And I'm looking forward to supporting this tonight. So thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Councillor Albrecht. Councillor Wallace, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Just like everybody else has said so many wonderful things. So ditto to everything that the rest of my council colleagues have said. It has been thoroughly enjoyable and hard and thought-provoking to sit along my council colleagues and staff, the city staff. Commend you for listening, and our consultants for listening, and for all those public engagements that took place. And I think it was our public hearing. I think it was the longest public hearing I've ever sat through was in regards to our OCP. I believe it was that. And it's a people focused document. It's a living document. It's inclusive of the things that we need to do to fight climate change, the environment, taking care of our environment, but taking care of our beautiful Nicomeka River and our surrounding areas throughout the city. So I'm excited moving forward. I know it's not a perfect document and we're not going to make everybody happy, but it's a document that we can be held accountable for doing the things that we need to do for giving people the best quality of life living here in Langley City. So thank you so much to staff and council and the consultants and to the community. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Well, I think everything that needed to be said has been said. So I'm just going to say for one final last time, thank you to everyone that was involved in this. This is an absolute, it's fantastic. So I will, on that note, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries unanimously. So thank you all again. Okay, Mr. Johansson, as the new OCP is now in effect, I understand that you wish to request that some of the bylaws be removed from the agenda as they are no longer required. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Just want to first off say thank you very much. It's Council's and the community's plan, and many thanks to your support and your direction, and of course the outstanding work of our senior management team, our staff team, and Modus, our consultant, and of course the great participation we had from the community to shape this plan. So the request is that bylaws 3188, 3190, and 3196 be removed from the agenda. These are OCP amendment applications for the three applications on the agenda tonight. And given that they are consistent with the new OCP, these OCP amendment applications are no longer required. They were placed on the agenda just as a procedural matter. And now that the OCP is adopted, they are no longer required. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Johansson. So that is 3188, 3190, and 3196 that will be removed. So moving forward, we will start off with bylaw 3189, which is zoning amendment number 182 and DP 10-21. First and second reading of a bylaw to rezone the properties located at 5364 to 536 or 5380 198th Street and 19824 54th Avenue from the RS1 Single Family Residential Zone to the CD79 Comprehensive Development Zone to accommodate a 30-unit townhouse development. Mr. Johansson, did you wish to speak to the bylaw?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The proposed rezoning and development permit application for 30-unit townhouse project. All of these units have double garages. There are no tandem garages in this application. That was reviewed by the Advisory Design Panel, or ADP, and the applicant has incorporated the recommendations from the panel, including the addition of warmer colors and increased articulation of the building faces, updating the roof line to reduce the massing, and installing privacy fencing along the east property line. The applicant has also added a gate at the east emergency access to prevent walk-through traffic until such time it is open once redevelopment occurs to the east, which likely happen in the long term. And they've also added an outdoor amenity space. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that update. Motion is that the bylaw cited as the zoning bylaw 1996, number 2100, amendment 182, 2021, number 3189 be read a first and second time. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Stordeboom, Councillor Pahal, and Councillor Stordeboom, you are up first. And then
thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Johansson, for the introduction of this very worthwhile development application. I can tell you that it was well received at the Advisory Design Panel. However, there were a number of recommendations with regard to its presentation, and we have, I think, 8 recommendations were brought forward, and the developer has worked with staff to satisfy all 8 of those recommendations for what will be a wonderful addition to our community in the Bryden area. I would encourage council colleagues to support this application as I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councillor Pahal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through the mayor to Mr. Johansson. This may be a question for the proponent at the public hearing, but for the gate, would it be a design such that someone wouldn't be able to walk through the gate or under it or anything like that?
Yes, through the mayor to Councillor Pahal. Yeah, the applicant can provide more detail of that if it goes to the public hearing, but basically the idea with the fence there is to prevent that walk-through traffic. So it'd be something similar to, I think, the townhouse project that's off of 53rd, where it comes up against, I believe it's 54A Avenue. There is also an emergency access there with a solid panel fencing.
Oh, that's great. And just for clarity, that's Huntsfield Green, right?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Albrecht.
There's the button. Yeah, thank you for bringing this forward. Yeah, you know, this is a far superior product than the one that we approved to the south. I like the look of this far better. I especially like that there's no tandem garages. But I still have my reservations about the ability of first responders being able to access units, seeing as the inside drive aisle is coming into garages with no front doors or no access doors. They have to go around the block of a building in order to get to a unit. So again, this is something that I guess can be addressed as we move forward to make sure that it's as easy as possible, because time is critical in times of medical distress. So I think it's something that should be looked at and tried to give a little better, let's say, attention to that kind of a detail. It's something that I think warrants a closer look. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments. All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? and that carries. Okay, moving on to bylaw 3191, zoning amendment number 183 and DP 11-21, first and second reading of a bylaw to rezone the properties located at 20120, 20170, 53A Avenue from the RS1 single family residential zone to the CD80 comprehensive development zone to accommodate a 5-story 86-unit apartment development. And Mr. Johansson, you are up to speak again to the bylaw.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This proposed application was reviewed by the advisory design panel, and the applicant has incorporated the panel's building and landscaping recommendations into their drawings, including the expansion of the solarium, the addition of trees onto the ground floor area, and additional community garden plot as shown in the attached drawings. This proposal also includes variances for combined storage, small car spaces, and having some visitor parking spaces underground. And the residential parking variances are also based on the proposed rates that are being contemplated for the new zoning bylaw in what we call the shoulder area, a 10-minute walk from the future SkyTrain. And it's consistent with recent applications on the 53A Avenue and surrounding area. And these variances are supportable by staff. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that update. Motion is that bylaw cited as the zoning bylaw 1996, number 2100, amendment 183, 2021, number 3191 be read a first and second time. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Stutterboom, Councillor Pahal, and Councillor Stutterboom, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Johansson, for that introduction. Again, a lovely multifamily residential building, well thought through and presented. The advisory design panel only had like 5 recommendations, and all of these have been satisfied. I'd like very much to move this forward and encourage the team on council to let that go to public hearing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you very much. Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. Okay, on to bylaw 3197, discharge of land use contract number 03-73, first and second reading of a bylaw to authorize the discharge of land use contract number 0373 from the property located at 20785 Fraser Highway, which is already zoned C1 downtown commercial. Removal of the land use contract will enable the accommodation of a 6-story 200 apartment unit and 1,488 meters squared commercial mixed use development. Mr. Johansson, I believe you would like to speak to this one as well.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This land use contract discharge bylaw and development permit application for a 6-story mixed use building is being brought forward in order to discharge a land use contract, which is on the title of the property. As you mentioned in your opening comments, the existing zoning on the site is C1, which permits a density up to 150 units per acre and theoretical maximum height of about 15 stories, subject to airport height limits. Now, given that there is a land use contract from 1974 that's registered on the title, the provisions in the zoning can only be used if the land use contract is removed through this discharge bylaw. And the land use contract right now currently only permits the 3-story building on site. All land use contracts in the province of BC will be terminated in 2024. Thus, the applicant is applying to remove the land use contract now in order to move ahead and seek approval of a development permit. So the applicant is also undertaking a tenant relocation and assistance plan, as the building has 24 purpose-built rental units. The attached explanatory memo to Council's agenda details the requirements of the tenant relocation plan as per the new OCP and provides information regarding the applicant's communications with tenants and their efforts to date. It's important to note that the Provincial Residential Tenancy Act provides the legal minimum notice requirement which is a minimum of 4 months notice and 1 month compensation to tenants following receipt of a demolition permit by the applicant. This application includes variances for combined storage, multiple amenity rooms, and parking variances that are consistent with those being contemplated for the new zoning bylaw for locations near transit, SkyTrain, and downtown, including reduced parking rates for 1 bedroom, small scale commercial, visitor parking, using shared residential visitor and commercial parking approaches, and updated small car parking percentages. The building design and proposed setbacks also align with the proposed updates to the C1 zone that will be brought forward the new zoning bylaw now that the OCP has been adopted. So that includes zero lot line designs on the interior lot line and enabling a more urban building form on major streets. The application was reviewed by the advisory design panel, and the applicant has incorporated the ADP's recommendations, namely on building, landscaping, and public realm improvements. They've updated their drawings to show the street tree requirements, the renderings. They've added more landscaping to the site on the ground floor parking lot and the second floor amenity, widening the stair access and enhancing the slope sidewalks, and also closing up the East Breezeway and providing additional brick facade on the Fraser Highway side. So note that the building is within the city's flood construction level. Therefore, the habitable ground floor levels must be elevated above street level. Presents a little bit of a challenging design context, but the applicant has provided generous brick cladding and columns, unique sloping sidewalks, and an arcaded commercial ground floor to present an attractive edge despite having to raise those floors. So just, Madam Mayor, just wanted to note that following the advisory design panel, with the closing up of that breezeway, there was a change to the commercial floor space. And it has increased to 1,518 square meters instead of the 1,488 that's listed in the agenda. So with that, if council will bring that forward, it would be appropriate to give the first 2 readings to the bylaw as it was advertised, and then amend the bylaw to reflect the current square footage or the square meters in the proposal. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so in accordance with our council procedure bylaw, the appropriate process, which Mr. Johansson just indicated, will be to give the current bylaw first 2 readings and then amend it to reflect the new square footage. So the first motion forward would be that the bylaw cited as the discharge of land use contract number 0373 bylaw 2021 number 3197 be read a first and second time. I need a mover and seconder on that. Councillor Sturtevant, Councillor Pahal. Any discussion on that? Councillor Sturtevant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is this the time to bring up the amendment that Mr.
No, I will be bringing up the amendment following this one. So did you want to comment or discuss the discharge of land use contract right now?
Yep.
That's what we're discussing.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This is a really big building. This is very exciting. Although I'm losing one of my favorite restaurants, I think that this is really going to be a gateway to our community and a model for buildings moving forward. It's been a challenge because we had to ask the developer to raise the building to accommodate the flood concerns for the high water mark in a 200-year episode. And there's been a number of recommendations from the advisory design panel, more than I've ever seen before, 15 in total. The applicant is scrambling to make sure that they satisfy as much of this as is possible. But I gotta say, the relocation strategy that's brought forward is very worthwhile and could be a model for future redevelopment. And I think it speaks to the resolution that Councillor Pahal will be bringing up later in the agenda. So very worthwhile, very big deal. And yeah, I would ask for council to support the application. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councillor Pahal, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And maybe you will know the answer to this, or staff. Will we be looking at the development permit itself at a future meeting? and it's just the land use contract tonight? Or are we doing both tonight?
Mr. Johansson, I see you're back. Did you want to comment on that, please?
Yes, through the mayor to Councillor Pahal, it's very similar to combined rezoning and development permit applications. So we're treating them as bringing them forward together so that if the land use contract is discharged by council, then council knows what's being proposed for the new building form. So it would follow the same process. It would go through a public hearing for the land use contract, discharge bylaw. And if council chooses to give third reading to that bylaw, then the usual process and servicing agreement, all the other things that need to be done, and the adoption of that bylaw and the permit would then come back to council for adoption and approval.
Thank you very much. And if I may follow up, as far as the tenant relocation, I know there's a section there where it's for folks who may need extra assistance. Or is that information that will be made aware of at a future date before the DP would be given a final reading?
Yes, through the mayor to Councillor Pahal, as noted in the explanatory memo on the tenant relocation plan, there's an opportunity at the public hearing for the applicant to provide an update to council on the status of their relocation plan and efforts, and council can also ask questions of the applicant in that regard. In terms of the relocation plan, we have certain steps that need to be met in terms of the issuance of the demolition permit should council issue and approve a development permit. So there's a series of steps that need to be gone through by the applicant. And of course, the Provincial Residential Tenancy Act is the legal minimum in terms of notice and compensation.
Thank you very much. I'll reserve my further comments for the public hearing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Pahal, Councillor Albrecht, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I think it's important that we move this along, get this through to a public session for feedback and public response. I think it appears to me the applicant is going above and beyond what is required in a legislative sense, even though morally I think it's the right thing to do. So let's say I'm looking very favorably upon this. I think they're doing a really good job of trying to affect or address tenant needs as well as the neighborhood as well. So it looks really good. I like to move it forward. So I'm going to be supporting the discharge of the land use contract so we can get to a public hearing process. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. No other hands up. I will call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And then can I get a mover and a seconder to amend bylaw 3197 to change the square footage from 1488 to 1518 meters squared? I have Councillor Albrecht, Councillor Storteboom. Any questions or discussions on that? I think Mr. Johansson covered that. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And then bylaw 3197, 20785 Fraser Highway Tenant Relocation Plan and Assistant Information. Can I get a mover and a seconder to receive the information, please? Councillor Pahal, Councillor Storteboom. Any discussion on that? Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Excellent. On to bylaw 3017, zoning amendment RZ 07-17 and development permit number 0217. Final reading of a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to accommodate a 4-story 62-unit condominium apartment development at 5406, 5418 to 5420 198th Street and 19829 to 19831 54th Ave. Motion is that the bylaw cited as zoning bylaw 1996, number 2100, amendment 134, 2017, number 3017, be read a final time. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Storteboom, Councillor Pahal. Any discussion on that? Councillor Pahal, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and through the mayor to staff, and they might not know the answer, but this is from, I think, 2017, so might be just after I was on council here. Does staff know if all the bedrooms will have windows that will open to allow fresh air to go in?
Through the mayor to Councillor Pahal, I do not have that information at my fingertips.
Okay.
However, I can follow up on that and let you know. But I believe it is a standard apartment building with the openable windows for rooms, but we will follow up with the applicant on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Sturdivant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And yeah, Councillor Pahal touched on this, and it is significant to note that this was something approved in 2017, in March of 2017. So here we are, like, what, 3.5 years later, and I can't help but be curious why it took so long to get to this. And I think I probably know the answer to my next question, which is that, is there anything we can do to move along some of these applications when they first come to us so that they can give us an indication when they will be actually under construction rather than maybe just holding the property? Historically, in the city of Langley, we have had some applications that have just held property and nothing really happened. But I think it might be in the best interest of all to review whether or not we can ask development applications to meet their requirements that they've proposed within a certain time frame. Mr. Johansson, can you comment on this for me, please?
Yes, through the mayor to Councillor Sturdivant, in this case, actually taking a step back, council does have a policy that sets time limits for the completion of development applications. And I believe this one was extended in the spring of 2020. And the application actually changed hands, and the developer that purchased the property is very interested in developing the property. So it's good to see, and yeah, we definitely want to see these applications that come through council be brought to fruition.
And with regard to the timeframes for new development applications to be completed, you said there's something that we have on the books to require compliance with a certain period of time?
Yes, that's correct. I believe it's, I do have Mr. Beto on the call here with me here. He might be able to confirm. I don't have it on the tip of my fingers, but I believe it's a year from a third reading that it must be completed. And development permits also have a 2-year expiry. So once they've been approved, they need to be issued within 2 years. Otherwise, they lapse. So there is a little bit of pressure on the applicants to complete. And in this case, the initial applicant decided to sell the project to a new applicant. Now we have something that's ready to move ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johansson. I appreciate your comments, and thank you, Madam Mayor, for hearing me out.
Great, thank you. Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. Okay, approval of development permit application number 02-17. That development permit application number 0217 for a 4-story 62-unit condominium apartment development at 5406, 5410 to 5420 198th Street and 19829 to 19831 54th Avenue be approved. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, any opposed, that carries. Okay, on to bylaw 3201, sanitary sewer and storm sewer rates and regulation amendment bylaw. First, second, and third reading of a bylaw to amend the sanitary sewer and storm sewer rates and regulation bylaw rate amendment. That the bylaw cited as the sanitary sewer and storm sewer rates and regulations bylaw 2003 number 2494 amendment number 20 bylaw number 3201 be read a first, second, and third time. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal. Any discussion? See none, call the vote. All those in favor, any opposed, that carries. On to bylaw 3202, Waterworks Regulation Amendment Bylaw, first, second, and third reading of a bylaw to amend the Waterworks Regulation Bylaw rate amendment, that the bylaw cited as the Waterworks Regulation Bylaw 2004, number 2550, amendment number 24, bylaw number 3202 be read a first, second, and third time. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor James, Councillor Sturteboom. Any discussion on that? It was weird saying 2004. Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Bylaw 3203, Solid Waste Amendment Bylaw, first, second, and third reading of a bylaw to amend the Solid Waste Bylaw rate amendment that the bylaw cited as the Solid Waste Bylaw 2016, number 2991, amendment number 5, bylaw number 3203 be read a first, second, and third time. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturteboom, Councillor James, any discussion? Councillor Albrecht, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to let the public know that this one and the previous two bylaws are all in keeping with changes to Metro Vancouver services that are being provided to us. And we have no control over those increases. So just wanted to add that as a point of clarification. Thank you.
That is correct. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Okay, on to committee reports. Environmental Task Group, October 21st, 2021 meeting report. And I believe Councillor Wallace is chair of this task group. Would you like to introduce the motion, please?
Thank you to the mayor. I guess it is a task group recommendation, and there is information in your agenda. That the first one, that council give consideration for up to $10,000 in the 2022 capital budget for a sign and identification of trees at Portage Park with funding from the Developers Community Amenity Charge Fund. And second, that council directs staff to investigate the cost of installing planters with evergreen trees along the Fraser Highway and one way. So I guess in the Portage Park tree grove, we talked about the variety of tree species that actually exist in that park, and that would be a great learning place to learn about trees, and that you can extend in other parts of the city. And I know that Portage Park, what's unique about Portage Park, you go to the east, you go to the south, and you go to the west, and you enter onto other trail systems. And it would be a perfect place to continue that education. So that is the gist of that one. And we talked about possibly investigating indigenous names of those trees. That is an ongoing investigation of, getting that from our First Nations communities. And the second one, I guess the staff did make a recommendation in regards to the 2023 capital plan includes the Fraser Highway one-way rehabilitation, which will see the replacement of underground utilities, burying of hydro lines, and complete road and sidewalk replacement. While the desire to add winter greenery on the one-way is understandable, the timing and the value is questioned. It is suggested that this work not proceed since the following year everything will be moved. And we thought that was that was the recommendation from staff. So I guess in moving forward, it's not really I guess this is just a recommendation. It's not a motion. So just for some clarity from staff or mayor, where do we go from here in regards to recommendation? Or Mr. Chung, if he's can speak to that, or Rick, Mr. Baumhoff.
Okay, I can speak to it. I guess my suggestion would be that obviously this is for discussion for council's consideration, and the staff input comment is there for also for your discussion. And if there was other reasons for proceeding with it, that's up for discussion as well. But so it could be that the second motion, if there's an agreement that to delay that or not to do it, then that motion would be left off and just make the motion for the one that you would like to proceed with.
Councillor Albrecht, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. And as a co-chair or alternate chair on the Environment Committee, I'd like to put forward a motion that council give consideration for up to $10,000 in the 2022 capital budget for a sign and identification of trees at Portage Park with funding from the Developers Community Amenity Charge Fund. I so move.
I believe that was seconded by Councillor Wallace. Any discussion on that? Councillor Pahal.
Yeah, I fully support this. And maybe this is a question for staff as well. I know that DCC funds are very specific. Which specific DCC account would you be using if we pass this, Mr. Bonhoff?
It's actually, I guess I could, yeah, the developer, the word developer is probably throwing you off, but it's actually the community amenity charge.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Councillor Sturgeon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And yeah, thanks for the initiative. I think it's a nice idea. I'm just not sure about this. I'm thinking the rest of council can support it and you won't need me for that. But are these naming of the trees, are those plastic or metal tokens to be attached to the trees? Is that the deal? Because metal's going to get taken, right? It's not going to last. So
yeah, if I could just add there, that was meant as an example. And so we would develop something that, is less likely to be stolen,
okay,
or vandalized. But yeah, it's just an example of what the sign could look like on the tree.
Yeah, it just $10,000 for a sign might be a bit much in my understanding. I'm thinking that you can get an app on your phone that identifies flora and fauna. I mean, if you really want to know, you can do that. So yeah, I'm reluctant to support the initiative, but I see Councillor Albrecht might be trying to change my mind, and I'm willing to listen. So thank you very much.
Actually, if I could just speak to that.
Sorry, just hold on a second, Councillor Wallace. Thank you for your comments, Councillor Sturtevant. It does say for up to, doesn't say that the $10,000 is going to be spent. The motion actually reads up to $10,000, just for clarification there. Councillor Wallace, go ahead.
Thank you to the mayor, to Councillor Sturtevant. Thank you for your comments, Councillor Sturtevant. That was brought up on the task group as well in regards to naming of the trees, but this just is just it's just like a place setting where people, even our schools, could come to and have that visual of the tree. And when we talk about Indigenous naming, and we've talked about that in our Nikameco River District plan, when we talk about the naming, the way the Indigenous learn is there's a lot of oral learning, right? So when you see the names, that's the importance of having names. So I guess we did talk about this at length, on the task group, and just seeing this as being, a grove of trees where you learn and, you come to, and yeah, there's just a lot of, a lot of conversation in regards to the education of trees, but the respecting of trees and the importance of trees. So it's something that can be expanded on as well.
Great, thank you for that clarification. Yeah, most communities have this, and then they have a QR code that you can read, and it can give you the explanation and use CCTV or CC captions. So Councillor Albrecht, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just to build on that, I was going to mention the QR code as well, Val. And I also want to mention and remind council that in our Nikameco River District, we've got our, what do we want to call it, our library or our learning, our education type and heritage focus in this Portage Park area. So this is just the first building block of creating an area for our community to better understand nature, better to understand our heritage, the culture, and our history of our community. So it's kind of those first steps, and we don't want to be limiting ourselves. If I remember correctly, I'm just going off of my memory, but we've got over 18 different species of trees in that particular area. And it's really, really incredible, the amount of trees we have, the variety of species. And it's nice to give some context to what those trees are and how they came to be where they are in our community. So that was kind of the vision for this whole process. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councillor James.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I love this idea. I think that you're absolutely right, Councillor Wallace. It was incorporated into the Nikomico River District Plan that we would start having educational opportunities. This is another opportunity to recognize our Indigenous heritage and exalt that, make sure that that's recognized as well. I recognized when I read the report that that's not exactly what you guys were thinking of. It was just an example to kind of be a placeholder so that we could envision what that would look like. My first thought was, gonna strangle the tree. And then I realized that's not it at all. That's done very cleverly. So I'm gonna fully support this because I think this is just another step in the things that we've been talking about all the way along. So good for you guys and good for your task group. I will fully support it.
Great, thank you. Councillor Sturdivant, new item or?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to say thank you for all the comments that my council colleagues have brought forward. I'm kind of reluctant to support the initiative. I think that we could do a lot more with smartphones and QR codes, and there's a lot of information that you can provide that people can see on their phones if they're really interested. My concern with this sign is that it's going to be vandalized, and if we want to do something down there to educate the public, I think the strategy that we have for the Nikomico floodplain should be harmonious. So any signage that we put down there should be in keeping with what the strategy is for the rest of the floodplain strategy moving forward. So it looks like it's going to pass, which is great, no problem, but you're not going to do it with my support. Please excuse me for dissenting. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor and opposed? Councillor Sturdivant opposed. All right, so moving on. Municipal administrative reports, municipal security issuing resolution. Okay, motion that City Council approve borrowing from the Municipal Finance Authority of British Columbia as part of the 2022 spring borrowing session, 7.5 million as authorized through the Property Acquisition Loan Authorization Bylaw 2021, number 3145, and that the Metro Vancouver Regional District be requested to consent to our borrowing over a 15-year term and include the borrowing in their security issuing bylaw. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal. Any discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Okay, moving on, new and unfinished business, affordable rentals. Councillor Pahal, would you like to introduce your motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And if it's all right, I'd just like to introduce it as it's on our agenda, if that's okay. And if anyone wants to second it, then I can provide more context.
Perfect, thank you. Go ahead.
I think Councillor Wallace seconded it.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, I mean, as I said in our background, we do have a rental one-for-one policy, but as we all know, that new rentals cost significantly more than the rentals they're replacing. I don't want to be prescriptive, and this motion is not prescriptive. It just asks that staff add a line item for us to consider a policy for affordable rentals. It does give some places on maybe where we'd want to look towards, but again, I think it's up to staff to come up with a policy and work with council on it. We've seen already with a project we've just given first and second reading to, that's replacing what was affordable rentals. And I'm sure we're going to see more, especially along the 204th Street corridor as we get our SkyTrain station. And I just want us to be prepared. I don't want us to be like the city of Burnaby, which was not prepared. So this is why I put this forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you for that. And I know we've had previous discussions about that through our OCP. So thank you for bringing this forward right away. The first night it's been approved. So I think you've been anxiously awaiting this, have you not, Councillor Pahal?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, we all have. Excellent. Well, thank you for bringing it forward. Any further discussion on it? Okay, Councillor Sturdivant, can you please use the raise hand function?
Yeah, I tried that. It stopped for me for a second.
Okay,
there.
thank you.
Yeah, I missed the last one too. But yeah, so this is going to a vote right away. Okay, so it was moved and seconded, and now we've had a discussion. Now we're going to a vote, so I get to talk. And I want to congratulate Councilor Pahal for this. I really appreciate that it's not prescriptive. I think that's a real challenge moving forward because there's so many variables to consider in the housing market and in market values and, you know, square footages and, you know, how new the appliances are. There's just a lot to consider. But the idea of making us aware that there is a concern here and moving forward, we'd like a strategy to try to address the matter. I think it demonstrates not just a good idea or good value. It's about, you know, the human condition and, you know, where are people going to live and what can they afford? So I want to say congratulations. I'm not a grumpy old man for all of these different bylaws. I want you to know that I think this one has real merit, but again, because it's not prescriptive. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilor Albrecht, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'm supportive of this. I think it's important that as a council that we realize that these are homes that people are living in. This isn't just housing. This is where people live, and that's where they've raised their children or you know, experienced things in life. So it's more to them than just some square walls and a place to lay down and eat. So this is an important part of who they are and the community they're from and the friendships they made. So I think it's important that we have these kinds of conversations and dialogues and try to put some consideration into our residents, the people that make up our community and the life that they've built and not just discarding people without giving some consideration and thought towards how they move forward. So thank you for this, Councillor Pahal.
Great comments, Councillor Albrecht. I feel blessed every night that I have a home to go to. So thank you for those comments. Okay, any further discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Okay, we received correspondence from Options Community Services and Provincial Pricelines in Jeopardy. Council's wishes to receive for information. Councillor Wallace.
Thank you. I guess when I read this, I was alarmed in reading it. And I don't know, I don't want it just to go and receive, I don't know where to go from here. In order to, I think that we need to take some kind of action. That's just how I'm feeling.
I'm sorry, for clarification, are you referring to both or one or the other?
The Options Community Services one.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about Mayor Vandenbroek. Yeah, I was alarmed in reading it, and you know, the increase of mental health right now, and then just them going to just what they're doing and it being in jeopardy, those lines being in jeopardy in the meantime as they, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if staff can help me with this or what do we do in moving forward?
Ms. Kenny, do you have a suggestion from staff?
Madam Mayor, I'm just bringing up the actual letter just so I can have a look at it myself. Just to be
Mr.
aware
Chuck,
of it.
do you have a comment in the, I see you're back on video there.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. To Councilor Wallace, I think certainly council can pass a a motion or resolutions to write to the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions and the Minister of Health to stop the ongoing process and put this crisis service out to tender as to support the cause. So we can probably draft up a letter in support of that and then send it to the two different ministers on council's behalf.
So we could create a motion to defer to staff to write a letter to the province.
So can I make that motion then to defer?
Perfect. Who would like to second that? Councillor Albrecht, you look like you have your hand up. Sorry, I was looking at you.
Yeah, no, that's fine, and I'm happy to do that. Except I don't know if defer is the right word. It might be refer staff to develop a letter for council
Thank you.
direction. Thank you. I'm
Sorry,
happy to.
that's my Frenchness coming out. Okay, all those in favor of referring to staff? Any opposed? All right, that will go. Wonderful. Thank you for bringing that forward, Councillor Wallace. And thank you for the info, Mr. Chung. All right, new business, release of motions from November 1st, 2021 closed meeting of council. This information is provided on the agenda for the public's information. No action is required. Appointment to the Metro Vancouver Board of Directors. That Councillor Gail Martin be appointed to the Metro Vancouver Board of Directors for 2022, and that Councillor Rosemary Wallace be appointed as an alternate to the Metro Vancouver Board of Directors. Appointment to the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board of Directors, that Councillor Gail Martin be appointed to the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board of Directors for 2022, and that Councillor Rosemary Wallace be appointed as an alternate to the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board of Directors. All right, motion to hold a closed meeting. That the council meeting immediately following this meeting be closed to the public as the subject matter being considered relates to items which comply with the following closed meeting criteria specified in section 90 of the community charter. A, personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or another position appointed by the municipality. C, labor relations or other employee relations. K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that in the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor James, Councillor Albrecht, any discussion on going into a closed? Seeing no hands, call the vote. All those in favor, any opposed? That carries. Motion that the meeting adjourn. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Wallace. All those in favor? Carries.